This first half in front of us as the teams come out of the tunnel, then do you expect Queen's Park Rangers, sensing that fragility amongst Luton Town, to go for the jugular?
I don't think players really think like that. I think the players will just be in a really good place at the moment, the QPR players, confident. I was led to believe, early part of the season during the struggles, that this team couldn't win without certain individuals. Colback, Jake Clark, Salter, these guys are still absent, yet the manager and the coaching staff have found a way. So I'm expecting to see a really confident QPR from the outset tonight. And
you're expecting them to take all 3 points, or could this one be like many games we see at this level? A very tight and tense one.
I don't think you can't back Luton on the road at the moment. You just can't, despite some performances which have been relatively encouraging. But given the record and the way QPR are playing, you've got to say home win. But I don't think by a distance. I think Luton will make them sweat for it.
OK, the players just coming out of the tunnel at Molineux. Remember, live Premier League action over on Talksport tonight as Wolves take on Nottingham Forest. Here, it is a match that could be integral for the future of the Hatters boss, Rob Edwards. Luton Town could be beaten away from home for the 10th game in a row as they visit Queen's Park Rangers. I'll leave you with your commentary team, the former Luton Town striker Sam Parkin, and Talksport's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Hugh. Good evening once again. The side of Burnley and Sheffield United towards the top of the table won't have made life any easier for Luton. And to hope for the start of a revival here after such a poor season on the road may be too much to ask for, but something has to change very soon. Of course, Queen's Park Rangers have, after backing the manager, so maybe that could be the way forward. Only one defeat in 10 games for Marty Fuentes and his team, and it's the same side which beat Watford here 3-1 on New Year's Day. Nardi in goal, Ashby, Dunn, Fox and Parle the back four, Varane and Morgan holding in midfield, with Field, with Smith and Chair supporting Frey in attack. Ronnie Edwards is on the bench for the first time following his loan move from Southampton. All change for Luton in midfield. Tom Krause and Jordan Clark drop to the bench, along with Elijah Adebayo, who of course has been almost wedded to the hip to Carlton Morris over many years, but Morris stays in the team. Adebayo drops to the bench. Marvellous Nakamba, Lamine Fane comes in for his debut, and Liam Walsh all return to the side. So it's Kaminski in goal. Bell, McGuinness and Holmes will be the back three. Walters and Chong will play in the wide areas. Midfield has been packed with Nakamba, Fane and Walsh, with Nelson looking to get as close to as he can to Morris in attack. Luton in the home strip of all orange with black shorts and orange socks will get this match underway. Queen's Park Rangers in their famous blue and white hoops. And as Sam Parkin was saying, it is a real who's who of Championship and London football around us here in the director's box at Loftus Road. And Rob Edwards just needs something to happen. I think they've almost gone beyond getting a good performance. They need a result here, don't they?
Yeah, probably go beyond that and say a sequence of good results. It's shown so far this season that one result hasn't been able to boost the confidence levels and give the players the necessary rhythm to go and collect consecutive wins or better. So yeah, they were competitive here in the Cup earlier in the season, and I thought far and away the better side in the reverse fixture. QPR absolutely robbed the 3 points on that night, so Rob Edwards will be hoping for something similar in terms of the performance level, but most importantly the maximum points.
Queen's Park Rangers looking to build from their left back area. It is a bitterly cold evening here in this part of West London, and I suspect elsewhere as well, as Holmes goes all the way back to Kaminski. Only 5 clean sheets in 24 games for the Belgian international so far this season. And Queen's Park Rangers have been fairly leaky as well, but the difference is for them, they've been winning games, in particular here. 4 successive victories after 9 without a win at Loftus Road to start the season, and home wins of course do get the bulk of the support on side, and Queen's Park Rangers and their fans are really united at the moment as it's lofted forward by Chair, looking for the run from midfield of Smith, but it's played away, and now an opportunity for Luton to break on this near side, and it's a powerful run down the left initially by Zach Nelson, but he was out-muscled as he entered the penalty area, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, interesting. The shape of Luton's team I don't think has changed. I think this is what we've seen across the season, but it looks like Nelson and Fane are going to be the two joining in with Carlton Morris. So yeah, I mean, I think there's been a lot of conversation and calls for Rob Edwards to change the setup of the team, but this is what we've come to know from Luton. But he's hoping that personnel changes, and it's big calls as well, leaving out Adebayo, leaving out Brown, two guys that have been consistent with Morris really. So he's hoping that just that change in personnel there, the athleticism, the freshness of the youth as well, will maybe bring some better results.
Queen's Park Rangers beat Luton twice in the space of 3 days, back in August at Kenilworth Road in the league, and here in the first round of the Carabao Cup. Luton last won here by 3-0 on their way to promotion in December of 2022. Their only victory in 15 visits to Loftus Road. As Queen's Park Rangers look to try and bring the ball forward again, but Ashby will go all the way back towards Dunn, and now it's played long forward, and the ball doesn't quite break for Paul Smith on this near side, and it will be a throw-in to be taken by Amari Bell. A number of the players wearing gloves this evening, and you can understand it because the temperature is already hovering close to freezing point as Rangers try and come forward again. Frey, who really had a good game against Mark McGuinness at Kenilworth Road, looking to win it back, but he initially lost out. But now it is quickly played forward by Morgan, and wide to Smith on this near side. He works the 1-2 with Frey as he tries to break towards the edge of the penalty area, back infield towards Samfield, and wide for Morgan Fox towards the left hand side, but the ball down the line from Pal is quickly cut out, and it will be a throw-in in the end to Luton Town on the far side. 3.5 minutes played here at Loftus Road, and it's goalless on Talksport 2.
Yeah, it's Zach Nelson's position at the moment, which I'm not entirely sure where he's been deployed. I think he could be playing left of a midfield four with Chong wide right, and then the two midfielders and Fane supporting Carlton Morris. So I think it is actually indeed a back four tonight, with Bell playing at left back, Roy Walters at right back. So it is wholesale changes for Rob Edwards in terms of the structure of the team, but also the players brought in.
Now Walters on the right hand side now. I did think it was a back four because I was looking for the orange shirt on the outside of Amari Bell and there was nobody there. So Nilsson, of course, can slot in, but he's looking to try and attack alongside Carlton Morris, but he may have to help out with some defending now as Rangers come forward with Paul Smith up towards Frey on the edge of the penalty area. Orange shirts converge on him, and in the end Frey caught Nelson late as he tried to clear the ball away, but play continues. Andy Davis, the referee here tonight. Now Morris on the move on this near side, but he's quickly lost out, and Ashby will play the ball back in field towards Varane, and Queen's Park Rangers will try and build on the far side with Elias Chair looking to tease Walters and go beyond him on the left, and that's what he does. High ball in towards Frey, cleared away at the far post by Bell. Nodded wide towards the far side again, and Luton need to get this ball out. Nakamba is back there to help out Walters, and in the end the clearance takes a deflection off Chair out of play on the far side for a throw into Luton Town. 5.5 minutes played, and it's Queen's Park Rangers 0, Luton 0 here on Talksport 2.
Yeah, good play from both wide players for QPR. Paul Smith, a really intelligent pass into Frey, just turned the wrong way, turned into trouble. If he'd have taken it on his back foot, there was a pass to his left, Elias Chair, and then subsequently Chair with a nice little bit of skill down the left-hand side, and that's the problem that it presents for any fullback. So good, either foot. Chair just digging out a nice delivery on his left foot, just a fraction too high for Frey in the middle.
They're also underway in the game over on Talksport at Molineux between Wolves and Forest in the Premier League. And the best way to follow both games is to download the Talksport app, head to the live commentary section, and you can swipe between the two commentaries on offer tonight. The 18-year-old Kieran Morgan, who has played very well for Queen's Park Rangers in this good recent run, gathers on this near side. It's back in field, and now Pyle on the far side. Forward towards the scurrying Chair, and Chair now heading back towards his own goal. Done all the way back to Paul Nardi. His clearance downfield will be almost won back by Luton, but Queen's Park Rangers playing with much more confidence in the opening stages here as it's spread wide by Morgan again. And here is Smith coming in field and encouraging Bell to come in field with him. And now Morgan, but he's given the ball away, and it was almost brought forward by Chong, but Chong just slipped and Queen's Park Rangers have it back. And here is Chair cutting in field up towards the edge of the penalty, curled in for Frey, free header, brilliant save by Kaminski, but Frey should have scored and he was completely unmarked 6 yards out, but Kaminski bailing out Luton there.
Yeah, you bang on, Nigel. The confidence of the QPR players is so evident. Even 7 minutes in, they're playing with a real panache, and Ilias Chair, what a start to the game he's had. He puts it on a plate for Frey, has to go towards the left-hand post. I'm not sure why he's diverted it in the opposite direction. Kaminski's there and makes a comfortable save in reality when that should be a goal up to QPR.
Long throw in towards the near post, flicked on by Luton head, volleyed in by Pyle through the crowd. Kaminski makes the save and he scrambles at the second attempt to gather inside the 6 yard area. Morgan Gibbs-White with the opening goal for Forest at Molineux against Wolves. Commentary on that game continues on Talksport, but here on Talksport 2, Luton Town with two really good saves from their goalkeeper in the opening 8 minutes, and the way that Frey had so much room there doesn't bode too well for them, Sam.
No, and I'm just thinking there, they've had a long time to prepare for this game, granted, so they can have worked on this new system on the training ground, but still even the makeup of the back four is different. Holmes and McGuinness have been playing in a back three. Holmes has been playing wide on the left, wide on the right. All of a sudden there's a new partnership there with young fullback on the right hand side, so they're going to have to adapt, and they're going to have to adapt quickly because QPR are one of the form sides, especially at home in the division.
Will Walters in the team. The Norwich game was his first start since October. The England under-20 international, of course, came through the academies at both Arsenal and Spurs, but it is a difficult time to come into this Luton Town team, and there's almost been a revolving door in the defensive areas as well. Injuries haven't helped, but there's not been a settled team, has there? No,
they've been hit there, haven't they, across 12 months in the centre of their defence. So many players been deployed and missing through injury. I think the first day of the season, Nelson, Johnson and Walters all started against Burnley, or certainly one of the early games, and obviously they were handsomely beaten on that occasion, and I think that's had a little bit of a knock-on effect, and Rob Edwards has probably been, ill-advised to put too many youngsters in together. Now obviously we're seeing it a little bit more tonight with Walters and Nelson in from the off, and that is just a product of where they are, and Rob Edwards probably having to try different things.
Now Amari Bell, the Jamaican international, on this near side, and he's got support from Nelson, but I think the pair of them conspired to run the ball out of play, and it will be a throw into Queen's Park Rangers on this near side. So Forest, a goal up at Wolves. Tomorrow night we're back in the Carabao Cup semi-final first legs. Arsenal against Newcastle with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Martin Keown. And then on Wednesday it is Spurs against Liverpool alongside Adrian Wilby, Sam Matterface and Scott Minto. And then on Thursday it is the start of the FA Cup third round, and you can check out all of the commentaries upcoming across the Talksport network on the app or checking in at talksport.com. Queen's Park Rangers have a free kick on this near side, which Harrison Ashby will take, a player who's come through a number of recent injuries to really nail down a place in this Queen's Park Rangers team. Chet quickly forward towards Frey, who seems to draw Holmes into the Queen's Park Rangers half, and then he retreats and he gives Frey the room to turn and sweep it wide to this near side. Paul Smith breaks into the penalty area, but Bell, good defending, showed him the outside and then did just enough to ensure that Kaminski would be able to swoop on the ball 6 yards out.
Did brilliantly, because the switch of play was excellent, and you just think that Paul Smith's in business here, the form that he's been in as well, but just telegraphed a little bit that he was going to go down the outside to the byline, and Bell's a really good athlete and matches that no problem.
A long ball played forward for Luton again, their supporters in the upper tier of the school end away to our right hand side, and those who are regular travellers away from home have found it a fairly grim watch this season. 9 successive away losses since that 1-0 win at Millwall on September the 14th. They also drew at Portsmouth in their first away game back in August when Kaminski was sent off, and since then it has been a string of defeats. 4 defeats in 5 in total, including that 1-0 defeat at home to Norwich on New Year's Day, which was their first home defeat since October the 23rd. And that one win was at home to Derby just before Christmas, when they came from behind with 2 deflected goals right at the end of the game. And they were probably worth a point in that game, Sam, but I don't really think they deserved to win it or played well enough to win it.
No, it was an incredible finish, and I felt that Derby had done really well on the night, actually, and frustrated the host. The second half really come into it and created the better chances, so you felt for Luton that could be the turning point, but it's proved anything but. And as we spoke of early part of the game tonight, Nigel, I think it's more than just one isolated result now. It's stringing together 4 or 5 results, performances, to really turn things around and galvanise this squad of players who are so low.
Well, they go to Forest in the FA Cup. I can imagine that will be a Forest team with a number of changes, but it's those games coming up against Preston and Oxford which will be so telling for them. They've also got Millwall coming up. As we were saying, the former Millwall manager Neil Harris is sat just in front of us. You would think that when people come out of management, the last thing they want to do is watch a game of football.
Yeah, but very much on his own terms. Neil Harris, it wasn't a sacking, was it? I think it just reached the end of the road there for one reason or another, so I'm sure he's as hungry as ever to get back in. He's not been short on opportunities the last few years. Very diverse career path he's had over the last couple of years, so someone will get him back in the groove, I'm sure.
Dunn going back towards Nardi, the Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper, defending the goal away to our left-hand side. 14 minutes played, no goals so far here at Loftus Road. Holmes with a touch into the path of Cher, and it's quickly helped on to field, and there is so much movement from Queen's Park Rangers when they gather the ball inside the Luton half, and it's going to be a test of concentration for a number of players playing in unfamiliar positions so far this season for Luton tonight. Smith was taken out on the edge of the penalty area. The referee allows play to continue. Nakamba then catches Smith second time around, but once again Queen's Park Rangers maintain possession. Ashby infield again towards Cher, but the scoop towards the edge of the penalty area is cleared, and Chong will try and bring it forward now over the halfway line for Luton. And he's lacking support, but now he finds it infield from Liam Walsh, who's admitted he really owes both his teammate and the Luton fans after those 2 red cards in the first half of the season, and he was sitting out the festive period with a 4-game ban. Now Fane quickly challenged by Varane, and there's an opportunity now for Queen's Park Rangers to counter-attack with Smith down the right-hand side. Now support from the teenager Morgan. Smith again, and it's good football from Queen's Park Rangers. Varane wide towards Cher on the left now, and Walters has been isolated by him as Cher comes in field, goes for goal and almost puts it into the top tier.
Yeah, a little ambitious with good support. Therefore, Ilias Cher, the touch almost went backwards towards his own goal rather than square before he decided to unleash right-footed. So, yeah, probably the wrong option. But I think a good start to the game for QPR. Certainly looked in the groove as we anticipated. I was just going to make the point, Nigel, as well about the managerial situation at Luton. The ingredients are different and it's not maybe comparable. What we've seen at Plymouth Argyle, for example, if you can't get anything away from home, something has to give. And of course Rob Edwards has so much goodwill, but I think if they can't arrest this form away from home, and I think there's other examples across the divisions, teams that are so contrasting home and away, I think it's a problem. And I think it's a problem because some of these supporters go week in, week out, don't they? The majority see them at home, but the ones that do travel, they need something.
It's not cheap, is it?
Of course not. And they're the ones that really feel it, don't they?
Nelson now plays the ball in field to Walsh for Luton, 25 yards out. Chong on the right-hand side, inside the area, cuts in field again and fires in the shot, which was blocked on the edge of the box by Field. Bell tries to win it back, but in turn he's given the ball away. And now Morgan driving forward for Queen's Park Rangers. Wide towards Smith on the right-hand side. Holmes has been drawn out of the centre to try and deal with him. The cross in from Smith, and it's guided away by McGuinness ahead of Frey. But now Ashby. And the cross in from Smith takes a deflection, and it's hammered to safety on this near side by Walsh, and it will be a throw-in for Queen's Park Rangers, not too far away from the corner flag down their right. 17 minutes played here on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL, and it's Queen's Park Rangers 0, Luton 0.
Yeah, Paul Smith maybe just blowing to a degree there, because I felt it was an opportune moment for him to get 1v1 against Holmes, and he just looked a little bit laboured. Was found by Morgan eventually, but the attack comes to nothing. Morgan catching the eye again, early stage of this game. Again, I mean, he looks like a senior statesman in QPR's midfield, so mature on the ball.
Morris heads the ball away at the near post, following the Queen's Park Rangers long throw, and all the way back to the halfway line. Ashby with a high diagonal back into the area. Dunn challenging, nodded clear by Holmes. It's controlled by Chair on the edge of the penalty area, juggles slightly. Parle with a very deep ball back into the area, which is kept alive for Smith. Smith now comes in field, left foot shot from him is deflected away off Holmes, but the ball is still loose on the edge of the penalty area, and it's played wide by Dunn in towards Chair, and the free header is off the crossbar, and the rebound is then smashed high over the top, and Jimmy Dunn there with two great opportunities to give Queen's Park Rangers the lead.
Well, he's been in incredible goal-scoring form, but once again, in a wide position, the lack of intensity from Luton is alarming. Chair receiving the ball, able to just put it onto his left side. Liam Walsh is kind of gesticulating for Walters to go and close him down. Does nothing of the sort. Neither of them have to go and try and close Chair down and stop that supply line. And Dunn will be so frustrated. Well, the first attempt is really good. I think Kaminski possibly gets fingertips to it. It's a thumping header at the far post, but then the rebound is horrible. It's
what a save.
Yeah, amazing save. Incredible. Takes it a bit early, Dunn, doesn't he, when it skips up off the surface for the rebound. Just had to wait. A little bit of calmness there. I'm sure a centre forward would have stuck that away. Centre half doesn't find himself in that position on the deck too readily. 3
goals in 6 games, though, for Jimmy Dunn, who at the other end now guides a long ball back into the path of Paul Nardi, his goalkeeper. But Queen's Park Rangers could be 2 or 3 up here with 20 minutes played, but it's still goalless. But we're seeing a Luton Town team playing without any confidence at all here.
Yeah, the patterns that are really evident in QPR's play, everyone knowing their roles, that's obvious to me as well. But the intensity, that's what Luton need to improve as well, just in those wide positions for one. I mean, Bell's done okay on a couple of occasions up against Smith, but QPR's most efficient attacking player, technically best player, is Chair by a distance. Need to stop his supply line.
Morgan playing well in midfield again to win it back, lofts it forward over the top, but can't find Smith this time. But when Rob Edwards arrived at Luton a couple of years ago, they were intense. Intensity was one of their hallmarks when they got into the playoffs and won the playoffs, and even last season as well, when they were causing problems for some of the bigger teams in the Premier League. But at the moment, they're almost waiting there to be beaten.
Yeah, and in truth, there's been spells in games at Kenilworth Road, but I don't think there's been loads of dominating performances. I think Sunderland, they were competitive. Watford, obviously, they thumped, but that's a game where the players are surely going to be able to.
If you can't get up for that one, then you might as well not bother.
Yeah, of course, and I think they Tom Cleverley's team didn't really turn up on that day. So I think they probably, shaded a few narrow games against opposition they probably should have beat. They should beat at Kenilworth Road. So there's room for improvement in their performances there as well.
A crossing from Bell, but it's still 0-0, of course. Here is Morris inside the penalty area, quickly closed down. Nakamba wide to this near side, and then Nelson with the challenge on Smith, which leads to a free kick. And there is the opportunity for Queen's Park Rangers to clear their lines once again. And there are injuries, we have to say that, and so many significant players unavailable for a variety of reasons. And there are young players in this team. Walters is 20, Nelson is 19, Fané coming into the team tonight, he is 20 as well. So there is a lack of experience, but at the same time, at the moment, they are 20th in the table, 2 points clear of the relegation zone, and one or two teams are beginning to show signs of life around the bottom three. And that's the warning for Luton, because at the moment they aren't. Now Nakamba, wide to the far side, but a goal here could really lift the mood and maybe be the makings of a turning point for them. Walters forward towards the edge of the penalty area, and Morris, and it's laid off towards Chong. Walters on the overlap now, drives in the cross, appeals for handball as it's blocked, but nothing given. And now Chair, wearing the gloves, gathers, plays it back to Dunn. A dangerous ball inside the penalty area. Dunn just manages to dig the ball out of his feet and clear. And now Frey looks to play it forward again on this near side. And Smith has got space and time to attack the penalty area. He's also got support, and it's a good cross in towards Frey at the far post. He controls and he scores. Michael Frey with a goal which was far too easy from Luton Town's point of view. The high ball from Smith towards the far post, and Frey had time to bring that ball down on his chest, assess his options and tuck it low beyond Thomas Kaminski. Queen's Park Rangers continue their move up the table, but Luton Town are sliding back the other way. 1-0 to the Hoops.
I was just thinking as Luton attacked previous to the goal that the first goal tonight, if it goes for QPR, it could be catastrophic for Luton. We're talking in the terms of, this is a foregone conclusion because of the dominance of QPR in the opening exchanges. Now they have the goal to show for that dominance. And the ball in from Morgan is a good one in terms of Frey can keep it alive. That's what I'm thinking when it finds its way to the far post. He surely can't score. And then Walters, my goodness me, young lad or not a young lad, he needs to be stronger. It's potentially a push from Frey. They're certainly going to be a little bit disappointed that that's not awarded as a foul, but I think the young fullback has to be stronger there, and Frey from the acutest of angles finished it brilliantly on his left foot.
Well, there was certainly contact. It then seemed to roll down Walters' arm. I think there were maybe half-hearted appeals for handball from some of the Luton Town players as well, but from that moment though, he had time to bring it down, roll the ball across Kaminski. You would often think of a finish towards the near post from such a tight angle, but again, it was just so easy.
I'm thinking of body shape there for the full-back to see the ball, but have a hold of the centre forward as well. Do your utmost to disrupt him. He's pulling on the full-back for a reason, because he feels it's going to be a physical mismatch. But even if the first ball does fall to him and he can recycle it for the team, he can't score with that second touch. That's a really poor bit of defending.
Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton 0. 25 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Over on Talksport, still Wolves 0, Forest 1 in the Premier League. But it's a former Premier League club, Luton Town, well, one of two former Premier League clubs here, of course, but certainly the most recent one. They are the story here at the moment. Queen's Park Rangers, of course, will be closer towards the playoff places than the bottom three if they win tonight, but Luton Town will be bang in trouble. Sunderland, the last team to suffer back-to-back relegations, as again McGuinness loses it on the far side. Queen's Park Rangers break into the penalty area, appeals for a penalty, then Frey with a challenge on Walters, which leads to a free kick. And looking towards the upper tier of the school end, there are more than one or two Luton Town fans who are wondering just what on earth is going on.
Yeah, it was Holmes on field did the challenge, that half-hearted appeals for a penalty. I mean, Sam Field on the left-hand side, absolutely brilliant play from him. He is rejuvenated in the QPR shirt at the moment, and it's half a shout actually. Holmes is a little bit clumsy, not sure he gets too much of the ball. Maybe Field needs no invitation to go over, but I was going to say at 0-0 they need to stay in the game. They need to stay in the game at 1-0 now. They can't afford this to go to 2, otherwise it's game over, it would feel, because there is such a contrasting level of confidence in the visiting side compared to the home side.
And this is a Queen's Park Rangers team who were 5 points adrift of safety when they began this recent run of 5 wins, 4 draws and only 1 defeat. They were in the relegation zone themselves between October and early December, and there'll be some way from the playoff places if they win this game, but it has been, or it feels a long time, Sam, certainly that Queen's Park Rangers have been in a position where they are looking upwards in the Championship, because for so often in recent years they have been fighting relegation.
Yeah, I think there was a little flirt, wasn't there, with the playoffs under Mark Warburton. I remember a big game between these two clubs actually towards the tail end of the season where you felt QPR could maybe make it, but since then it's been pretty desperate until obviously Cifuentes came in with real immediate impact last season, and this start to this campaign hasn't gone to plan, but they're looking like a really good outfit all of a sudden, which is incredible and will be.
Here's Chong though, coming forward for Luton. Good run into the penalty area, pulls it back. Amari Bell with the shot. It's cleared off the line. Pinball inside the area. Carlton Morris now with the opportunity to shoot. His effort is blocked, and then the effort from Wallace is also kept out, and it spins away towards the far side. But that was a really good chance, and with more care, it would have been 1-1.
Yeah, well, Amari Bell's disappointed with himself, but he had a hell of a lot of bodies to go through there. Chong is brilliant on the right-hand side, and it was probably the hardest ball for him to try and execute. Just dragged it back between bodies to the completely unmarked Bell. As I said, there was 4 or 5 QPR players and the goalkeeper to go through, so no shame in it getting deflected to safety, initial safety, and then Morris was really cute. His touch was good, then sold a couple with a dummy, just couldn't fashion the space to get another shooting opportunity away, but the best that Luton have mustered by a distance.
And the ball actually hit Zach Nelson about 3 yards out, but he wasn't really set for it, and it was Liam Walsh who had the shot in the end, which was blocked. Luton do have a free kick now out on the far side. Nelson will take it high to the far post, looking for McGuinness, headed away initially by Varane, and now Walsh again. Wide to the far side, the right, and Chong has got Nelson on the overlap, but Chong comes in field, the high cross in, looking for Carlton Morris. Holmes challenging, but it spins into the path of Parle, and he will clear the ball long downfield. And a dangerous ball in field from the Camber, falling straight to Frey, and Queen's Park Rangers will try and break again now. Frey with a good ball, wide to this near side. And now Elias Chair found by Smith inside the area. The shot is blocked by Bell, and it will be a Queen's Park Rangers corner.
Well, it's been better from Luton, and Teeth Chong in particular, who's been their bright spark on the right-hand side. But it's a bad giveaway from the Camber, just trying to be too over-elaborate in the middle of the pitch. Should have just helped it back towards his goalkeeper, or even put it into touch. Just set up a QPR counter-attack where that trio again combined. Chair getting in for the strike, but he was well marshalled by a Luton defender and didn't have the space to really test Kaminski.
Still Wolves 0, Forest 1 over on Talksport in the Premier League. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton 0 here on Talksport 2 in the Championship. Corner for Queen's Park Rangers. And a second goal at this stage, and it could become very ugly indeed for Luton Town. A team who were in the Premier League, of course, as recently as May, as the corner high into the area falls for Dunn. It's clipped into the penalty area again. Frey almost won it 6 yards out. It's cleared back in again from Morgan. This time Carlton Morris will clear. Varane nods it wide to the far side, and Morgan has got the energy to keep the ball in play, challenged by Liam Walsh, and it will be a throw-in for Queen's Park Rangers, level with the edge of the Luton penalty area on their left.
Looking dangerous from set pieces as well. Dunn was so clever there with his header. He was completely unopposed, but he headed it back. Not only that, but right onto the left foot of Fox. I think it was blocked by a Luton player eventually, but nice build-up play and combination between the two centre-halves.
It'll be a long throw for Queen's Park Rangers on the far side, in towards that near post. Morris again rising to clear. Here is Chong. Turns and plays it long, looking for Fane, but Ashby with a good ball wide to the far side, and now Chair again tries to ride the challenge, and he almost goes down. In fact, it was Smith who made that run forward, claimed he was foul, but nothing given, and Luton come forward themselves now with Fane wide towards Nelson. Nelson on the left hand side, needing some support, and in the end Varane is all over him. Nelson does now have some support, but he's unable to squeeze out the pass, and Ashby will play it out of play. Queen's Park Rangers with 63% possession so far. 8 shots, 4 on target. Luton 4 shots, none on target. And Welsh is just tangling with Morgan on this near side as Luton take the throw in, and the flag is up for offside, and someone wasn't looking along the line.
Yeah, slightly better once more from Luton. Probably Fane's most impressive involvement there, just receiving it on the half turn. An opportunity to get at QPR's back line, slipped it to the left to Nelson. He looks a little bit short of fitness, doesn't he? Fane, that's for sure. The game's passed him by a little bit, so playing as a kind of number 10, not being able to affect things, partly due to QPR's dominance, but also I think Varane in that position for QPR now. I mean, he's looking the real deal. It took him a little bit of time to get going, arrived to a lot of fanfare again, as they so often do. Players that are signed during the summer window, now we're seeing just what a good defensive midfield player he is.
Just watching a replay on the monitor here in the press box of the goal, and I'm sure had there been VAR it would have been disallowed, because it did strike Frey on the arm. It was accidental, but of course it wasn't seen by the officials, but it also struck Walters on the arm first. But of course defensively that wouldn't necessarily be penalised, but it would if you were an attacking player.
Yeah, certainly was an appeal, but it felt a little bit like there was an acceptance from the Luton players. Really, there wasn't players steaming towards the referee, gesticulating that it should have been a free kick. So it feels like there was a certain sense of inevitability about that opening goal, given the way that the game was going.
There is currently a VAR check for a possible Nottingham Forest penalty in the Premier League game over on Talksport. They already lead Wolves by a 1-0. It's Frey who has scored the only goal here so far. Goes all the way back to his goalkeeper with the help of Morgan Fox. And that penalty appeal was waved off at Molineux. And Luton here have been better in the last 10 minutes or so. Of course, they had that really good chance, the cross from Chong, and Bell's shot, which was deflected away. Now McGuinness, midway inside the Queen's Park Rangers half, finding Holmes. Bell infield to Walsh, and now Nelson, and it's decent football from Luton as Morris plays it wide to this near side, looking for the overlapping Bell, but Dunn slides in to make the challenge, and it will be a throw-in for Luton Town, who trail here by a 0-0 with 35 minutes played on Talksport 2, hoping to avoid 10 successive away losses in the Championship. McGuinness forward towards Fane on the stretch, and again he's unable to gather. And here is Chair with the ball down the line for Frey. The Queen's Park Rangers, McGuinness with the mistake, and Frey could be in here, coming infield towards the edge of the penalty area, but he's eventually crowded out, and Holmes will clear, but it will come straight back. Varane wide to this near side, and now Morgan. Ashby looking to get involved. Morgan again. And McGuinness had real problems with Frey during the game back in August, and that was almost a flashback there for him, Sam.
Yeah, you're not expecting Frey to get in down the side of of any opposition centre-half. He's probably got a better chance than ever tonight against two guys who aren't particularly quick, especially on the turn. But McGuinness, again, has got to deal with that. A few individual mistakes now creeping into this Luton performance.
Field on the far side. Initially went down under the challenge of Nakamba, but quickly bounces back to his feet. And on the halfway line, here is Morgan Fox. And Fox has really been playing out of position as a central defender, but at the moment it seems to work for Queen's Park Rangers to have both Fox and Parle down that left-hand side. And now Field again pressurising Nakamba, but it's back towards Holmes, and here is the ball forward again from Bell on this near side, but Colton Morris at times is looking rather isolated. Nelson and Fané have the job of trying to get close to him, but inevitably, with the rather sporadic service coming from the Luton Town midfield, that's not happening often enough. But Morris now has been caught by Dunn on the edge of the centre circle, and it will be a Luton Town free kick.
Yeah, need to show a little bit more in attack. I think that's obvious. Chong's had a couple of moments since QPR scored. I suppose Rob Edwards has got that opportunity, if they can stay in the game, to affect things and to reunite Carlton Morris with Adebayo, for example. Jacob Brown's been getting good game time as well as part of the front three. So there's that option to go back to the formation that has been favoured. But I'm sure he's desperately hoping that they can show something in this new shape. Something, I suppose, to continue with after tonight. If they can perform admirably, then that change could be made over a more longer period. And that would certainly appease the supporters, because I think it's been a change that's been called for almost unanimously, given the results in the kind of 3-5-2.
Morris going down on the far side, wanted the free kick, but nothing was given. Queen's Park Rangers quickly have it back. Here is Jonathan Varane, the Martinique international, signed from Sporting Gijon in Spain. Now another long ball forward for Frey, who is probably more mobile than he looks, Sam, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's having to work hard, isn't he, at the moment? QPR often just turning Luton around rather than trying to feed it. They're not playing with the number 10, are they? So there isn't that obvious option to pop it into someone's feet.
But here is Elias Chair scooting down the far side, the left, but this time Rule Walters does well to stick with him. Chong will try and bring it clear, and he was caught on the edge of the penalty area by Kieran Morgan, and it will be a free kick for Luton Town. And Thomas Kaminski will take it, and of course he has conceded one, but two brilliant saves from him to keep out Frey and Dunn. Well, it was 0-0. And Luton were almost swept away in the opening half hour. As it is, as we head towards half-time on Talksport 2, they are still in the game, albeit at a goal down, but they've only scored 8 times away from home so far this season, as Chong goes down wanting a free kick, but nothing was given. But it's pretty grim. 1 win, 1 draw and 10 defeats on the road. They had a better record in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was a very fortuitous victory at Millwall as well, if memory serves. Don't think they performed particularly well on that day, and it's been a problem throughout the calendar year, hasn't it? So going to have to improve. As I said earlier, you know, it's becoming a problem for a lot of teams, the contrast between home and away, and that's I was going to
say, there are so few away victories around the bottom of the Championship this season. I saw Oxford get their first on New Year's Day at Millwall, but I think at one stage the bottom 3, none of them had an away win between them.
It's almost as if I think there's a lot of theories, isn't there? One could be, you know, that managers are just really honing in, focusing on the home games. They know there's a better chance of getting points in those games. It could be just a strange quirk, but I think there's probably something in it, and the precarious nature of managers' jobs as well, Nigel. You know, the amount of changes there's already been in the Championship. I think you have to box clever to a degree, and in front of your home fans, that's where you're going to get the majority of your points, and maybe that just takes the focus, and the game plan gets altered drastically when you go on the road. It's safety first because of the nature of the gig when you're a Championship manager.
But you can win as many points away from home as you can at home.
You can, but the reality is it's always going to be harder, and that's just the way it is. The familiarity that the players have with the home ground, whether it's just something psychological. You can never really put your finger on it, but I'm fairly sure if you looked at my career statistics, the majority of my goals would have come in home fixtures, that's for sure. So it's just the way it is. And for Luton, as a prime example, at home, people would argue about the dynamics of the pitch and what have you, but of course the stands, the closeness, the proximity to the pitch, the vociferous nature of the home support, that is worth a few extra points every season. We've seen that.
3 minutes to play in the first half. Chair coming forward now for Queen's Park Rangers. And it's played further in field by Parl. And the second goal before half-time will be an absolute hammer blow for Luton here, who are still in the game, as Walsh was just given a nudge there by Morgan, spotted by the officials, and it will be a free kick for Luton Town rather. Queen's Park Rangers leading this game by a goal to nil. There was a bit of a coming together on the far side while we were talking between Marvellous Nakamba and Sam Field, but it was quickly sorted out by Andy Davies, and you can see the frustration in the number of Luton players. They know they're not playing well, and I think that frustration comes from probably a belief they could do better. Here's an opportunity now, but the shot from Marvellous Nakamba has swirled too high. It was good work on this near side by Zach Nelson, but Marvellous Nakamba unable to keep the shot down.
Yeah, really good from Nelson, who's playing a really unselfish role. He's playing on the left-hand side, but he's tucking in. He's doing a lot of work without the ball for his side, and he set up a really presentable opportunity for Nakamba on his left foot, where you think a player of that calibre could just sweep that towards the far post with a little bit more composure, but gets far too much height on the ball and never threatening.
Goal kick, which Paul Nardi will take. And he's not really had a shot to save so far, the Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper. There was that flurry in front of him when the crossing from Chong caused plenty of confusion. His clearance also goes straight out of play. Bell with a quick throw in, headed down by Fane, and now Nelson. And Luton try and squeeze the cross in from the left with Morris, but Queen's Park Rangers will clear. And here is Nakamba again. Bell. And now Walsh. And McGuinness with a good ball forward into the path of Fane. Walsh finding Chong. Chong has got support on his outside from Walters, but it's infield towards Nakamba and wide towards Nelson on this near side. They're queuing up, but they can stop queuing now because the flag is up for offside as Chris Wood makes it 2-0 to Nottingham Forest at Molineux on Talksport 2. And you take out Salah and Haaland, and he is one of the hottest shots in the Premier League at the moment.
And he looked shot, didn't he, a year or so ago? He felt that his time at the top level was maybe gone, but yeah, incredible season for him thus far. She's been better by Luton, no question. A couple of excellent passes there. McGuinness through the lines into Fane, I think it was initially, and he in turn found a nice pass to Nelson on the left hand side, but just went a fraction too early. Shouldn't have been offside there. They were starting to build a little bit of rhythm.
Fane does well to ride a challenge, and now Nakamba plays it wide to Chong. We're into a minute of first half added time. Chong using his pace down the right, but Parl keeps up with him, but the ball bobbles behind, and Luton Town do have a corner right at the end of the first half here.
Yeah, just backed his pace there. Kenneth Parl almost showed Chong that he was allowing him to go down the outside onto his weaker right foot, obviously, and then he did match him athletically, able to get to the byline and stop any intended cross coming across QPR's box.
Corner kick for Luton right at the end of the first half here. McGuinness and Holmes are both forward in support of Morris, but Andy Davis, the referee, will just sort one or two things out before the corner is eventually delivered. And a goal now would give Luton so much of a lift. It's an outswinger towards that near post. McGuinness with the header, and he has scored. Mark McGuinness with the equaliser for Luton on the stroke of half-time, and it's the set piece which has given Rob Edwards' team a route back into this game. And what a lift that could be for both the players and the manager. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton Town 1.
Well, it's as good a header as you're likely to see. It's phenomenal from McGuinness. He's up so early, you could tell that he was going to be the Luton player that connected with it. He just got up and above any QPR player, gets away from his marker in a quite congested area. It's Varane, I think, a little bit ducking down, and he's up McGuinness, and then it's just about steering it towards the target, in off the far post. Brilliant header, nothing approaching a challenge. Comes from quite deep, actually, so I don't think there's anyone particularly on him, but it's a brilliant leap, and it's inch perfect, in off the inside of the post.
Well, the way Luton have been playing, it always looked as though a set piece may be their route back into this game, and that is the case right on the stroke of half time. Barely time for Queen's Park Rangers to kick off once again, and the mood inside both dressing rooms will have been transformed by that header from Mark McGuinness. Queen's Park Rangers dominating large spells of the first half. Michael Frey scoring the opening goal for them. Thomas Kaminski making two excellent saves to keep out both Frey and Jimmy Dunn, turning his header onto the crossbar. Queen's Park Rangers had opportunities to extend their lead, but right on half-time, the set piece, the corner onto the head of McGuinness, and it could be a very different second half. Half-time, Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton Town 1.
Well, you can't quite believe the scoreline, can you, to be perfectly honest? Queen's Park Rangers had 63% possession in that first half, 8 shots, 4 of those on target. When it comes to Luton, 7 shots, 2 on target. Interestingly for me, Queen's Park Rangers expected goals, only 1.36. Dunn's missed 2 great chances, if you like, albeit rolled it into one with his header, and then the rebound which he blasted over the crossbar. Frey definitely should have made it 1-0 with a free header early on, and of course the goal itself. And really, Queen's Park Rangers, on the balance of play, should be out of sight. When you don't take your chances, there's a chance you'll get sucker punched, and that is exactly what has happened on the stroke of half-time. And that changes the complexion, Sam Parkin, really completely going into those changing rooms for both managers.
Yeah, I think the biggest emotion, had it been 1-0 for Rob Edwards, probably would have been, well, a combination of relief that it wasn't worse and disappointment in the level of his team's performance. Not a great deal changes. They'd be absolutely delighted that they're level, having not played well at all. I still think they're probably in a position where he'll be thinking about changes, and probably changes to the structure of the team as well. Fane essentially has played as a number 10 in a kind of 4-2-3-1 with Nelson wide on one side and Chong wide on the other. I mean, he might as well have been on the bench, Fane. We've seen nothing of him. He had a little burst in the last couple of moments where he was able to get it between the lines. Right, good 20 seconds from him. Yeah, but not enough. He's been a little bit anonymous. Chong's probably been their most effective forward player. So I don't think it changes loads. There'll be a delight that there's an opportunity to get back on level terms and potentially get something from the night when it looks like it was going to be another chastening football match for them, but yeah, there's been, I was going to say light years, that's too strong. There's been a big gulf. Yeah, there's been a big gulf in open play in the 45 minutes. QPR far and away the more cohesive team, but the reality is the score's 1-1, so hopefully for Luton's sake and their supporters' sake, that will inspire a better performance in the second half. Well, listen, it's come down to chances. Luton have had 1 chance in the entire game, and they put it in the back of the net. It came from a set piece. They're always dangerous from those, something they've worked on throughout the years. But the huge chance that Frey had after 7 minutes, a brilliant ball from Ilias Chair, he has to head that across the goal. An even bigger chance, really, yes, a great save from Kaminski after Dunn's initial header. The rebound drops to him. He should be putting that in the back of the net as well, and really it should have been 2-0
to Rangers before they eventually did take the lead. They may well pay for those missed opportunities.
Yeah, quite possibly. I think 2-0 would probably be a fair reflection of what we've seen. But yeah, there's going to be missed chances, and Kaminski, the second one, it's certainly one of the best saves I've seen in recent times in the Championship. It's a brilliant fingertip save. Frey, really surprised that he didn't head it back in the opposite direction. You're not going to have a look at the goalkeeper clearly when the ball's travelling towards the centre forward in that position, but your natural instinct as a striker is always to head it back in the direction of which it's come from. And I think he's got enough time to readjust and get his forehead on it and head it towards the left-hand post. So I'm really surprised he just glanced it towards the opposite corner. Comfortable save, that one for Kaminski, because he was almost over there. But the one from Dunn, brilliant save, and then Dunn obviously misses a gilt-edged opportunity where, 9 times out of 10 he probably sticks that in. That's just a bit of a horror show from him. But
the two goals that did stand, let's take a quick look at those. Frey, listen, there was an element of handball. I guess the Luton fans will be crying. It looked like it did land on Frey's arm before he, rather incredibly by the way, he managed to put it into the back of the net from a really tight angle on his left foot to put QPR in front. And then the set piece on the stroke of half time. What did you make of both goals?
I think it's difficult for the officials to see the handball. I think first and foremost, I think it would be more likely that he'd be penalised for the little shove. I'm not sure what the Luton players were appealing for. If anything, my hunch and my feeling is that the body shape of Will Walters was wrong. I think he had to do better to affect the centre forward there. It's a tough job because he's given away certainly a couple of inches in height to Frey, certainly a little bit in muscle as well. It's difficult because the centre forward positions himself there for a purpose, because he thinks he can physically dominate the fullback. But so often I was that player, and the fullback will affect me by sticking an arm in my chest, by having a better leap than me, by whatever means necessary. I think it's too easy for Frey to be able to get onto the second ball, and then he steers it in brilliantly, so credit for that. But I think it's a really avoidable goal from Luton's perspective, and difficult. I've only seen the equaliser on a couple of occasions, but I think McGuinness comes from real deep, and I think QPR are doing a bit of zonal to a degree. I'm not sure exactly what the makeup is of their defensive set piece setup, but he comes from deep, and Varane is caught a little bit underneath the ball. But I think you just credit McGuinness. He gets up so early, reads the flight of the ball, and then it's not only that, but he diverts it into the perfect spot to score. So it's a great header, but QPR will be disappointed with the marking clearly.
You mentioned changes for Rob Edwards and Luton Town, not just in terms of the personnel. He's got a very strong bench here of a number of regular starters, but also to the shape. I think now that the momentum, maybe the mood has changed slightly here, and QPR fans are feeling a surprise defeat, who knows, you go for what you know, and you bring on some of those players that have performed well for you, and you maybe go back to the back five, because I think there has been way too much space in the midfield for QPR's midfielders, who I don't think have a bead of sweat between them. They've overrun the midfield with simple passing triangles, and that really has been the difference in terms of the territorial domination that QPR have had.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest wholesale changes at the moment, but he could just reconfigure maybe that front line, the midfield as well. He could keep the back four in there. I think it's been a problem. I think obviously over a long period, Luton have probably recruited with an eye on playing the three at the back, and therefore when there's been the large hope and calls for maybe him to revert to a back four and tinker with it further forward, they haven't necessarily had the personnel available. I think that is an issue. I think fullback has been an issue, long-standing, and I think for one, I know he's not available tonight, and this is a bigger topic, bigger conversation, but I think Alfie Doherty is just so prime for a left wing-back spot that it obviously leads itself to that shape when he's available, and he's such a fundamental part of what Luton have been good at over the years. So I think tonight, I don't think there's been massive gaps in terms of the back four. I think the two fullbacks could have done better at times up against their opposite numbers, but I think a little bit more support for Carlton Morris is probably one of the most important things, and obviously that, I mean, Adebayo or Jacob Brown at some point maybe early in the second half.
We'll see if Rob Edwards does indeed think his side needs some changes at the break. He's been given a lifeline on half-time from Mark McGuinness. His team's second best by some distance. Hasn't really been the performance of a team fighting for their lives just above the Championship relegation zone. QPR will be very disappointed that at half-time on Talksport 2, it is only Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton Town 1.
Talksport 2 is your dynamic destination for all the latest sporting action, featuring live commentary of all the biggest events, including football, PGA golf, horse racing, Premiership rugby, cricket, boxing, and all the big-hitting drama of the NFL. Touchdown! Plus, Talksport 2's official betting partner, William Hill, is always on hand with the insight and in-depth analysis you need. Talksport 2 with official betting partner, William Hill. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Darren could get an offer from a random car dealer. Or sell direct to We Buy Any Car. The dealer could come to his home, kick his tyres, then decide not to buy it. Or he could get a guaranteed sale, leaving more time to take his other half on a romantic getaway. Oh no. Or ooh la la. To get a quote in 30 seconds, enter your reg number now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
I'm home, Mum.
Dad.
Kids.
Right, I've got a call in the office.
Spinning in the lounge.
Gaming in my bedroom. Well, I'm live streaming in the kitchen. I need to watch the footy.
When everyone's caning the broadband, EE's new Wi-Fi 7 router makes every device work better, even yours.
Hello, guys.
My perfect Spagbol hat for you.
And with your next breath, reach your arm.
Upgrade to Wi-Fi 7 on EE, and we'll sort the switch for you.
43.7% UK availability. Smart Hub Pro and Smart Wi-Fi Pro available with selected EE full fibre plans. Terms apply.
This year, gain a new perspective with the Times and Sunday Times New Year's sale. Our digital subscription offers unlimited access to in-depth analysis and thought-provoking features across world news, sport, lifestyle and more. Don't miss the chance to unlock our trusted insight for just £1 for 4 months. Visit thetimes.com/New Year today. 18+, new customers only. Offer ends 5 p.m. January the 6th. T's and C's apply.
At Morrison's, we've price matched hundreds more products to Aldi and Lidl like coffee, milk, bread, pasta sauce, olive oil, chicken breast fillets, washing up liquid, carrots, onions, bananas. Hundreds more products price matched to Aldi and Lidl, whichever is cheaper.
More reasons to shop at Morrison's.
For full terms and conditions and verification, visit my.morrisons.com/price-match-terms.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
Hard-hitting football coverage.
Oh, it's got in!
Wednesday night.
The League Cup live on Talksport.
They are turning up the heat at just the right time.
Spurs versus Liverpool.
Coverage from 7, kick-off 8 p.m. on Talksport.
Oh, my word!
Give us a goal.
Hard-hitting football coverage on DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
An absolutely magnificent effort!
EFL live on Talksport 2.
Queen's Park Rangers have it back, and here is Chair cutting infield up towards the edge of the penalty. Curled in for Frey, free header, brilliant save by Kaminski, but Frey should have scored, and it's played wide by Dunn in towards Chair, and the free header is off the crossbar, and the rebound is then smashed high over the top. We're seeing a Luton Town team playing without any confidence at all here. He's also got support, and it's a good cross in towards Frey at the far post. He controls and he scores. Michael Frey with a goal which was far too easy from Luton Town's point of view.
We're talking in the terms of, this is a foregone conclusion because of the dominance of QPR in the opening exchanges. Now they have the goal to show for that dominance.
Here's Chong though, coming forward for Luton. Good run into the penalty area, pulls it back. Amari Bell with the shot. It's cleared off the line, pinball inside the area. It's an outswinger towards that near post. McGuinness with the header, and he has scored. Mark McGuinness with the equaliser for Luton on the stroke of half-time, and it's the set piece which has given Rob Edwards' team a route back into this game.
Michael Frey's opener for Queen's Park Rangers cancelled out by a Mark McGuinness header on the stroke of half-time. It was an incredibly one-sided affair in that opening period here at Loftus Road, but not where it matters. On the scoreboard at the break, Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton Town 1. As it stands, the run of 9 straight defeats for Luton Town away from home is coming to an end. However, unless they improve the way that they performed in that first half, you would only put your money on a Queen's Park Rangers winner. We will have the second half for you very shortly here on Talksport 2. A reminder, over on Talksport Live, Premier League action tonight at Wolves 0, Nottingham Forest 2 in the Premier League, and that would see Forest move level on points with second placed Arsenal in the Premier League. So that would be a rather unbelievable start. And well, we're into the second half of the campaign now, continuing for Nottingham Forest, a remarkable season indeed. And the live football keeps on coming tomorrow evening. We'll have semi-final action from the Carabao Cup on Talksport as Arsenal welcome Newcastle in the first leg between the two teams. Shortly you'll hear the thoughts of Newcastle boss Eddie Howe ahead of that game, but first here's the Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta, who doesn't want his side to use any excuses for their performances of late.
We are in all the competitions, we are where we want to be, and in most of them, obviously in the league for a lot of circumstances, we are not where we want to be, which is top. I understand that, and that willingness to be better every single day, to try to improve, and don't look for excuses, because in anything that you do, you look for excuses, you're going to find them. These are challenges, these are situations that we are facing, and we are trying to do the very best to overcome them and still be a really good team.
You could talk about the dynamic of the two games at length, but the reality is we're just playing another game. We're playing an 11v11 game for 90 minutes away from home, and we've got to do all the same things that we've been doing well in recent games. We've got to be really good off the ball, we've got to be solid defensively, we've got to pose Arsenal problems the other way. So I think as long as we get that mix right, I don't think we should overthink it. Let's continue try and continue the good performances we've given and give our absolute best to try and win the game.
So all the build-up from the Emirates tomorrow night on TalkSport from 7 p.m. on Thursday. We'll have Spurs against Liverpool in the semi-final first legs of the Carabao Cup. That was on Wednesday, Thursday night, Everton-Peterborough in the FA Cup third round. But here at Loftus Road, all square, QPR 1, Luton Town 1, in the company of the former Luton striker Sam Parkin and TalkSport's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Hugh. And it's Queen's Park Rangers who will get the second half underway in the blue and white hoops. Attacking the goal away to our left. And Luton in the orange shirts and black shorts. A reminder of the two teams again. The Queen's Park Rangers team, Nardi in goal, Ashby, Dunn, Fox and Parle. Varane, Morgan and Field in midfield. Smith and Chair supporting Frey in attack. As Luton look to come forward on this near side, and they have won a throw-in conceded by Fox. Their team is Kaminski in goal. The back four, Walters, Holmes, McGuinness and Bell. In midfield, Nakamba and Walsh, with Fane and Nelson looking to support Morris in attack, and Chong playing wide on the right-hand side. And it's a formation which took some time to really gel for Luton this evening, but that goal from Mark McGuinness heading in the corner on the stroke of half-time will be something which Rob Edwards has at least been able to focus on during half-time. And Sam Parkin, will he be looking at, great, we're level, or why did we fall behind and why were we so far behind in terms of performance for much of the first half?
Yeah, I think it's probably the latter, how they can improve the overall performance. Obviously thrilled to get a goal and be on level terms, and he'll be hoping that will in turn improve the players' confidence. But yeah, they need to be better, more competitive as a rounded team in this second half, otherwise they'll still lose this game. That's clear with the opportunity that QPR were able to create against them. So yeah, I don't even think there'll be that much relief there. I think there'll be dissatisfaction probably in the level of the performance. Every game, every week brings that great hope that you're going to be able to put together a more complete performance, and that definitely hasn't been evident in the first half yet. The level have got a chance of getting something tonight.
Queen's Park Rangers looking to build on the far side in the blue and white hoops with Frey, but he's unable to gather. But in the end, Rangers do get a throw in on the halfway line down their right. No team in the Championship has lost more games than Luton Town this season, 14 in total. They haven't really done too many draws, but maybe they would take a point here tonight after 9 successive away defeats. The Queen's Park Rangers on the other side of the coin will have been bitterly disappointed to have conceded so close to half-time after a first half in which they largely dominated, but now we'll have to try and work again. Here is McGuinness finding Walsh, and Luton trying to build down their left here. Bell involved with Fane and Nelson, and here is Nelson now, who breaks towards the edge of the penalty area. The challenge comes in from Varane, which was an untidy one, and it's a yellow card for him, and it's a free kick for Luton, 20 yards out left of centre.
Well, that worked perfectly with Nelson coming infield into nice little bit of space, and Varane caught out probably for the first time tonight. It's a definite foul. It's a brilliant driving run from Nelson, who has impressed on occasion this evening, played a couple of nice passes, but that was probably exactly why Rob Edwards, or what he wanted from Nelson, deploying him on that left hand side but encouraging him to come infield, pick up little pockets of space and get turned to join in with the front two.
Liam Walsh over the free kick here for Luton Town. A player who has had his disciplinary issues since arriving from Swansea. 2 red cards before Christmas, but he is over the free kick here, and it's a really good position for the right footer to hit this. And it's Walsh who will hit it, but the wall leaps and it was blocked by Dunn. And Walsh will try and gather on the far side again, but he had Smith, who was really snapping at his heels, and in the end it's out on the far side, and it will only be a throw-in for Luton Town.
Yeah, an opportunity for Walsh there from the dead ball. And I mean, you don't get signed by Swansea without being a really good technician, irrelevant of who the manager is, and I'm so surprised at his lack of discipline this season, because I think he's a really tidy midfield player, good range of passing, but obviously he's let his teammates down on a couple of occasions. So it's clear that Rob Edwards rates him as a footballer. Back in there tonight after serving his ban, and yeah, done okay in there alongside Nakamba so far.
Here is Parle for Queen's Park Rangers. Eventually it's played high to Frey, who tries to hold the ball up with McGuinness at his back, and Holmes will go all the way back to Kaminski. His long ball downfield, Morris almost jumping into Fox there as the long ball arrived, but no free kick given by Andy Davis, and in the end it's a missed kick by Parle on this near side, and it will be a throw-in for Luton. 5 minutes into the second half, 1-1 here at Loftus Road. Morris looking to turn inside the penalty area, lay back towards Walsh. His shot is deflected, and Varane will eventually bring it clear. Almost gives the ball away to Bell on the far side before Smith will eventually allow the ball to dribble out, and it will be a throw-in for Queen's Park Rangers, but 1 or 2 moments of uncertainty for them.
Yeah, only 5 minutes in, but yeah, do look a little bit more confident Luton started this second half. I think Walsh probably would have preferred that to have just been set a little bit softer on his right foot. Came at him at some pace from Morris, had to take it under his spell.
Now Morris with the back heel, and the shot is blazed high and wide from Lamine Fane on the edge of the penalty area. That would have been some way to mark his debut.
He's doing his utmost to blame the pitch, isn't he? Look straight down at the spot where he just made a hash of his finish. Lovely little header from Walsh into Morris. Brilliant inventive flick from Luton centre forward, and it's a really good opportunity. He's just got to curl it, I think. It's a good sight of goal for him, just to steer it towards the far corner. Didn't have to smash it, but got completely underneath it.
The pitch is rather mottled in places. Of course, if you're old enough, you'll remember this game as the plastic pitch derby back in the day. These were the first 2 clubs to choose to use artificial surfaces in the 1980s, but of course Queen's Park Rangers have been back on grass for some time, but the pitch is showing signs of wear and tear as Nakamba plays it square towards Walsh, and now Holmes wide towards the far side again. But there's no doubt Luton Town have come out with a good deal more resolve at the start of the second half than they did at the beginning of the first. And here is Walters now infield towards Walsh, and a good ball from him wide towards the far side the left, and there is the opportunity for Zach Nelson to come infield up towards the edge of the penalty area. Nelson did score here in the EFL Cup back in August, but they've lost out on this occasion, Luton, and here is Chair coming forward now for Queen's Park Rangers, looking to take on Walters on the outside. Low ball in towards that near post, and it's rippling the side netting, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, and this is just confidence. I'm sure there's one or two little alterations which, if Luton do go on to get a favourable result, Rob Edwards will probably mention post-match or people will pick up on. But this is just players feeling like they've got nothing to lose now, a little bit of a lift having scored. Just seen Amari Bell joining in probably for the first time on the overlap, not seen either Walters or Bell get forward whatsoever as an attacking threat, joining in with the outside midfield players. So all of a sudden Luton, for 8 minutes, in command of the possession and looking a hell of a lot brighter.
1-1 as Frey loses out to Walsh, and Walsh will guide it all the way back towards Kaminski, who made 2 brilliant saves in the first half to keep Luton in touch. And now they will try and break forward with Nakamba, and here is Fane. Carlton Morris makes the run down the centre. Fane hits it, and this time it wasn't too far over the top.
Yeah, I think Amari Bell was the pass early on the left. He just had the momentum, I think, on the QPR player who was recovering. Not sure who it was, possibly Ashby or maybe one of the midfield players. Could have been taken out there by a ball, slipped left, looked a little uncomfortable getting that strike away. He wasn't the most natural of efforts. A couple of yards over the bar. I mean, he's listed as a defensive midfield player. I thought that's what he was coming in as, but very much playing just off Carlton Morris. And speaking to the people around the club, they're hoping that he can bring goals and attacking impetus to this side.
Well, they've already brought in Walsh and Nakamba into this starting lineup tonight, so there were already plenty of holding midfielders available, but it's a difficult environment for Fane to come into a team which is struggling away from home, as Powell comes forward now for Queen's Park Rangers. He was fouled by Chong. Chong complains and receives a yellow card, probably for the dissent rather than the initial challenge, but it will be a free kick here for Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, he gets something under the ball, but it doesn't matter. The angle that he's tackling from, it doesn't matter. It's kind of his follow through. There's a little bit of the ball with his right leg, but it's the initial one with his left across the player. Yeah, it's a definite foul in my opinion. Not a yellow card though, so maybe it was something he said. I'm not sure it was a yellow.
Tafe Chong following Jonathan Baran into the referee's notebook, and it will be a free kick here for Queen's Park Rangers. 55 minutes played at Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Luton Town 1. Here on the home of the EFL, Talksport 2. Forest still 2 up at Wolves over on Talksport in the Premier League. And you can have your say after that game on the Sports Bar. Foul with the free kick high towards the far post, but it's overhit in the end and beyond everybody and straight out of play for a throw into Luton Town. And it's a much more even contest now than it was for much of the opening 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, sometimes it's really obvious, evident that the manager's changed something. They've made a couple of changes or changed the formation of the team. But I think this is genuinely confidence, and also it's so happens so frequently that neither half is ever the same in football. QPR just taking a little bit of time to find their rhythm, and the flip side is that Luton have been buoyed by that equalising goal. And
Nakamba's ball forward though is cut out. Here is Chair now with his back to goal. Nakamba goes right through him, and it will be a free kick for Queen's Park Rangers, about 30 yards out, just right of centre. And Nakamba escaping the yellow card there. He may be slightly fortunate. And 1 or 2 Queen's Park Rangers fans on the far side aren't too happy about something.
Yeah, Ozili's Chair, I think, coming together. I think it's Chair on the far side. Maybe Smith just a little bit slow to get back to their feet, but I don't think that was a yellow for Nakamba either. But yeah, it's Smith feeling that he was maybe elbowed. I think that's what he's suggesting to the official.
Well, Andy Davis clearly didn't see anything, but Smith has a facial injury. We can see that the left eye is bleeding profusely, and he'll need some treatment as a result of whatever happened on the far side. We're just watching the replay now. Smith looked to go beyond his man, and he was caught in the face by Amari Bell, but I don't think there was too much intent there.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think his proximity to the crowd on the far side, as soon as he got to his feet, they were aware that there was blood coming from his eye, so that's why there was a loud appeal from that side, or a little bit of stick for the officials. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Bell meant to connect there with his right arm.
But Paul Smith is just receiving some treatment, and they will try and patch him up. And he's remained on the field to play, so there is a delay here with 58 minutes played. It is still Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Over on Talksport. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow on Talksport, the start of the Carabao Cup semi-finals. The first legs, Adrian Durham will bring you Arsenal against Newcastle with Jim Proudfoot and Martin Keown. Then on Wednesday night, Adrian in the chair for Spurs against Liverpool with Sam Matterface and Scott Minto, your commentary team. And then on Thursday, over on Talksport 2, it is Everton against Peterborough, the start of our coverage in the FA Cup third round. And there'll be commentaries Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday. And there's still treatment here for Paul Smith. And I think he will need a change of shirt as well, with one or two spots of blood that may have been spilt. And Smith, I think, is heading across towards this near side. A change may have to be made here. And it's the sort of injury which may need some more lasting care, which can't be done during a game with a couple of those plastic stitches they often use. And Smith is coming off, and Koki Sato will come on to replace him.
Yeah, possibly just in such a delicate area that they're not able to stem the flow of blood, and probably requires some stitches, which is going to have to be done obviously away from the pitch and probably the dressing room area as well.
And there's going to be a debut as well for Ronnie Edwards, the youngster on loan from Southampton. He's come on to replace Jonathan Varane, who of course was booked earlier in the second half.
Yeah, the horrible opening 5 minutes as well, didn't he, to the second period. Stabilised somewhat in the game since then, but interesting change, that one in particular. It'd be interesting to see where Edwards shapes up in this team.
Well, Parle is over the free kick here for Queen's Park Rangers after that long delay following the facial injury for Smith. Parle playing it short, and it's Chair who whips it through. It takes a deflection, and it's gone all the way in. Elias Chair will claim it, but it took a massive deflection, I think, off a teammate as well. It may go down as a goal for Morgan Fox, and if it does, that is a real rarity for the Welshman. Chair hit it, and it struck Fox. He knew nothing about it, and Rob Edwards stands down there and he looks to the heavens. He can't believe it. Such a fortunate goal for Queen's Park Rangers, but when you're down near the bottom, everything goes against you, and it did for Luton Town there.
Well, it was a nice free kick, but I mean, it was incredibly optimistic. The pace that the ball was set to Elias Chair, that he was able to get enough purchase on his side-footed effort, and he doesn't really. It's going to be well wide of the target, and as you say, just cannons in off the central defender. Completely wrong foots Kaminsky. It's an enormous stroke of luck, because that was missing by 4, 5, 6 yards maybe. I was sure that was done, getting himself another goal, but you're right, it's Fox and another centre-half for QPR on the score sheet.
Well, Morgan Fox knew absolutely nothing about that. He clipped his heel, and Kaminsky had absolutely no chance as a result of that. but it's a horrible moment for Luton Town. They are 2-1 down at a stage in the game when they look to be the more effective team. They do have a free kick now on this near side, which will be taken by Zach Nelson. And the look on Rob Edwards' face, he looked absolutely sickened by that. Nelson with the free kick, high to the far post, a header from Morris, and it's kept out by Nardi. Excellent save.
Yeah, they worked that free kick really well to the far post, freeing up Carlton Morris, coming together on the far side here, which QPR fans not happy about. Not sure who the Luton player is that's involved, but I think just trying to stop the ball from cleared down the line. Brilliant save from Paul Nardi just prior to that.
Well, Nardi doing well there just to keep the angles covered at the near post. May have blocked it with his knees in the end. The ball spun out to the Queen's Park Rangers right back area. Then something happened over on the far side. And in the end, Andy Davis, the referee, has just had a word. It will be a free kick for Queen's Park Rangers.
Ronnie Edwards was actually talking to his teammates, the two centre-halves in particular, during those goal celebrations about what the team was going to look like since his introduction. He's gone into that central midfield position, so can't recall him doing that too often at Peterborough, and that shows, I suppose, the versatility and probably how impressed the QPR staff have been with him since he arrived.
Well, he's always been a very good footballer, or he has been during the career we've seen Ronnie Edwards, and that's where he's stepping in now, and he steps forward, he looks it wide to this near side, looking for Cheb, just overhit on this occasion. Well, Morgan Fox did score on the final day of last season, but the goal tonight, only his second goal in 5 years. And I don't think he'll be winning any awards for it, but it's a very important goal for both of these clubs. As Edwards just tangles on the far side with Fanay, and it will be a throw into Queen's Park Rangers, and Luton Town need to try and build again here.
Yeah, amazing stroke of luck, but that wasn't happening for QPR early part of the season, clearly. And now they're up and got momentum, got confidence, everything seemingly going their way. But yeah, a real relief, I would suggest, for Marty Cifuentes to get themselves back in front, given the way the second half had started, where Luton much improved and had shaded it, no question.
25 minutes to go. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Luton Town 1. Morgan Fox diverting that shot from Elias Chair into the back of the net. As it's headed forward now by Parle for Queen's Park Rangers, but Nakamba with a back pass, and Walters just has to retreat and find Kaminski, then quickly gets it back from him. Fanay and Nakamba, a good ball wide to this near side, and Chong beyond Frey, and Chong comes in field, and he was barged off the ball there by Edwards, and it will be a free kick for Luton Town in a good area, about 25 yards out on the right.
Yeah, he's been bright. You always want a little bit more from Chong. I think he showed that in the Premier League in snippets, sporadically, what a player he can be, but I've certainly not seen enough of it this season. So he's been better tonight and needs to have more influence on the game for Luton Town as they look to recover their season. A good presentable opportunity here, and keep an eye on Morris. He does make that movement to the far post frequently and get a lot of joy from it.
Nelson over the free kick. Morris peeling away, and he is the furthest player waiting at the far post, but it's a shorter one, and it was McGuinness who came in again with a glancing header, not too far wide on this occasion, the scorer for Luton towards the end of the first half.
Well, the trajectory of the ball in is very nice for anyone going in attacking it, and he's in behind a QPR player. I think just the proximity of his marker made it a difficult one. He's having to edge out a QPR player before trying to steer that header goalwards, but frustrated. Another half chance.
Now Edwards, as Queen's Park Rangers try and play out from the back. Dunn eventually gives up on the subtle approach and hammers it straight downfield out of play. But it will be a throw-in for Luton Town, who are heading for 10 successive away defeats. And there is more movement on the Queen's Park Rangers bench, and there will be a double change very soon. Jack Colback is one of the players who is coming on, and he will replace Harrison Ashby. So it may just be a change in shape here as well. And Alfie Lloyd is the other player coming on, 21 years of age, and he comes on for Michael Frey, who applauds all four sides of Loftus Road, having opened the scoring here tonight.
Well, it looks like Edwards straight back into the heart of the defence, and Jimmy Dunn going over to right back, where he's obviously played the majority of his football across the last 12 months, and very well indeed in that role for his side. So yeah, shouldn't disrupt things too much, albeit maybe the outlook looks slightly differently in terms of that centre forward is someone who's a bit more of a wide player now in Lloyd.
14,025 the crowd here at Loftus Road this evening, with 1,010 who've made the journey down the M1 from Luton. 69 minutes play, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Luton Town 1 here on Talksport 2, still Wolves 0, Forest 2 on Talksport in the Premier League. So Forest going level on points with Arsenal as it stands. Queen's Park Rangers heading towards the safety of mid-table, but Luton Town will be peering over the precipice if they lose this game, as Nakamba brings it forward and plays it wide to the far side, and Nelson infield to Walsh. Nakamba again, and Fanay coming short. McGuinness. And Luton have played some decent patches of football in the second half. Walters, and now Walsh again, high ball in, looking for Fanay at the far post, but guided back well by Dunn into the arms of Nardi.
Yeah, and what we've seen is so fewer balls just going from back to front in this Luton performance so far tonight. Normally there's going to be loads of diagonals hit towards Morris, especially when he's got someone up there in tandem with him. Tonight they've absolutely tried to play a little bit more, especially through Chong and Nelson on the opposite side, and obviously with a number 10 in the side as well. They've looked to bring Van Hey onto the ball and try and get him turned between the lines. It's not always worked, but yeah, it's definitely been a slightly different make-up to this Luton Town team tonight.
Headed forward now by McGuinness, right down the centre. Fanay expressed an interest in that, but it's all the way through to Paul Nardi, who made an important save to keep out the header from Carlton Morris just after Queen's Park Rangers had retaken the lead. Now Colback wide to the far side, and it's a high ball forward from Edwards, and it was Saito almost on the ground who tried to control that. Luton try and build down their left, but the ball forward is beyond Fanay and out of play for a goal kick. And is there the belief, do you feel, in this Luton team to come back into this game a second time?
Initially I thought no, I thought that would be a colossal blow, but they've actually settled back into the rhythm that they were showing prior to QPR getting that second goal. So yeah, I think it's going to be telling.
And here is an opportunity now for Alfie Lloyd, and he skips it over Kaminsky. It looked destined for the back of the net, and at the last moment it spun away from the far post and just wide.
Well, it doesn't get a touch from the goalkeeper. I can only suggest that he kind of stabs at it as he looks to dink it over the incoming goalkeeper, and it's just the way it lands. It almost just spun away from the target. As you say, Nigel, it looked like it was going in the centre of the goal, and it just kind of deviated to the right of the unguarded net. Incredible. What an opportunity, just as obviously this game was looking like Luton were going to start knocking on the door. QPR with a really presentable opportunity to, I'm sure, win it.
Well, it was a dreadful back pass which played Lloyd in, and the spin of the ball favouring Luton Town there, unlike the manner of Queen's Park Rangers' second goal. 18 minutes to play. The Hoops leading by 2-1. And Luton Town heading for yet another away defeat, and they have got some huge games coming up. Clip forward now by Morgan, wide to this near side. Oh, dreadful header away, and this time the shot is fired in against the post, and it was another really good opportunity. It was Walters with a header in field, and it was Lloyd again with the effort this time, which beat Kaminski and pinged off the near post.
Yeah, it was a poor pass actually from Morgan, trying to set Chair free on the left-hand side, and Walters just makes a complete hash of his clearance, his headed clearance, which Alfie Lloyd gets on straight away. The touch is good, and the finish is really good. Well, almost really good, because it cannons off the outside of the post off his left foot. Two great opportunities for him to surely win this game for QPR.
Elijah Adebayo coming on now for Luton Town. Marvellous Nakamba making his way off. So Adebayo back in tandem with Carlton Morris, a player who has struggled for goals this season, only 5 after scoring 10 in the Premier League last season. Although, having said that, Morris has only scored 7 goals himself, but 3 of those have come in his last 6 games. But Luton beginning to run out of time here, and the manner of their defending recently has left a good deal to be desired. As Kokai brings it forward, great run into the penalty area from him. Lloyd looking to wriggle his way through the challenges, and the shot from Morgan is blocked. It was a really good save by Kaminski yet again, and Luton continue to live really dangerously here.
Yeah, Saito's best moment since he's been introduced, and you felt like Lloyd was going to get another shooting opportunity, and it's Colback arriving. The ball comes through bodies as well, the shot comes through bodies, so Kaminski's save is even better. Strong right arm there. It looked like Colback had really measured his finish to perfection there. Another top save from Kaminski.
Colback looking to win it back here from Fané, but it's played wide again by Holmes, and Bell looking to wriggle away from the challenge of Edwards. It's in towards Adebayo on the left corner of the penalty area. And he's forced further wide, and in the end just stamps it off a Queen's Park Rangers player, and it will be a throw in to Luton Town. Inside the final 15 minutes, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Luton Town 1 here on Talksport 2. Forest continuing to lead 2-0 at Molineux over on Talksport in the Premier League. Walters plays it forward towards the edge of the area for Luton, but it's guided clear by Field. And now Chair on this near side. Queen's Park Rangers were briefly appealing for a free kick, and Chair just running out of room, and it's a throw-in which is taken by Walters. And then Morgan losing out to Walsh. And there's some real desperation about the way Luton are trying to attack now. They're aware of the situation, of course. How could they not be? But here is Lloyd on the counter-attack now for Queen's Park Rangers down the left. He's taken down by Chong. Was he on the edge of the penalty area? Not according to Andy Davis. It's a goal kick.
A risky one from Chong. A hell of a lot more aggression from Luton Town than the last few moments, really crunching into challenges, and Chong desperately trying to get back and apply that pressure on Lloyd, and just about gets away with it.
Jacob Brown is coming on, and it's Zach Nelson who goes off. So another striker thrown on here. Brown, Morris and Adebayo all on the field now. Brown will take up a position wide on the right with Chong wide on the left, but it's headed forward by Edwards, and an opportunity for Lloyd on the edge of the penalty area. He claims he was just pulled back there by McGuinness, but nothing given. And here is Fané on the counter-attack for Luton, but the blue and white hoops converge on him, and it's quickly won back, and Dunn has the route back to his goalkeeper Nardi, and he clears it long downfield. Lloyd leaping with Holmes does well to win the ball in the air, but Walters with the back pass towards Kaminski, which just forced his goalkeeper to scramble for a second, and Kaminski's ball back towards Walters goes straight out of play for a throw into Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah, he's done really well, Lloyd, thus far. Obviously more mobile than the man that he replaced in Frey, and he's roughing up the centre-halves as well, and I think McGuinness was really clever there, because it looked like Lloyd was away once more on his shoulder and just tugged him enough to disrupt his movement, but also within the rules of the game, so it wasn't regarded as a free kick by the official.
Now McGuinness square towards Holmes for Luton, and Bell wide on the left hand side. And since that header for Carlton Morris straight after the second goal for Rangers, Luton have not created too much. There's been plenty of huff and puff and no lack of desire, but no quality.
No, there's almost the front four at times as they chase this equaliser. Chong and Jacob Brown are going to stay really high and wide. Obviously the front two that we know so well, partnered in attack here. Fane's stepped back, hasn't he, into the holding midfield with Walsh, so a different role for him, but looks like he's going to last the distance on his maiden start.
Now Walsh midway inside the Luton half. 11 minutes to play on Talksport 2. Queen's Park Rangers leading by 2-1. Luton heading for 10 successive away losses, and a team relegated from the Premier League last season will be peering anxiously over their shoulders towards the relegation zone in the Championship. Now Walters looking to go beyond the run of Chair, and Chair does well to stick with him, makes the challenge, but in the end concedes the corner kick for Luton Town.
Yeah, well, he'll get an assist for the second goal, Chair, but he's been complete onlooker in this second half. He's not affected things in an attacking sense whatsoever, getting back there into a defensive position in the left back area of the pitch to try and thwart Walters, but struggled to do so, and Luton Town with another set piece opportunity.
All the big men are forward here for Luton Town, and it's very, very deep towards McGuinness at the far post, who tries to keep it alive, but it's behind, and it will be a goal kick, and we are inside the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that they're going to try and apply pressure by going a little bit more direct, going back to what they know, maybe some diagonals towards Adebayo and Carlton Morris, and those two playing closer together and trying to get some second balls and some territory and build that pressure.
Jake Clark-Salter is in conversation with Martis Fuentes as Field plays it forward, looking for Sato, wide on the right-hand side for Queen's Park Rangers. He's a tricky player, and in the end, Amari Bell does well to stick with him, but at the expense of a corner kick.
Yeah, and that's where they'll want it, and good play from Saito over on the right-hand side, getting to the byline. Amari Bell able to recover and get something of a challenge in. Maybe that'll be QPR back to 3 centre-halves to try and see this game through. Jake Clark-Salter's getting readied.
Well, Fox and Dunn are the central defenders forward here. Beyond the far post for Queen's Park Rangers, and they've been joined by Edwards, and they will all look to make that late run into the penalty area here. The corner kick is right into the heart of the 6-yard area. Adebayo rising to clear. Back out towards Parle, the corner kick taker. The deeper ball in this time, and Dunn challenging at the far post, but the final touch was off Walters, and it will go behind for another Queen's Park Rangers corner with just over 8 minutes to play. And those Luton supporters away to our right-hand side. 1 or 2 of them have made the early exit, but many are staying here. And if they've travelled to every single away game this season, goodness me, what a watch that has been for them. Corner kick for Queen's Park Rangers once again, heading towards 5 successive home victories. And the corner kick will be played high towards that far post again, and it's Dunn rising with the header, but he's penalised for pushing even before the ball goes high over the top.
Yeah, maybe a little shove on Amari Bell, but once again he's been a threat in the opposition's 18-yard box, done, that's for sure. Both centre halves really in the mood.
Neil Harris among those who are leaving down the stairwell just beneath our position here at Loftus Road, as Saito has been shoved over by Walsh, and it will be a free kick here for Queen's Park Rangers as we tick towards the final 7 minutes here. And do Luton have anything left in terms of chasing an equaliser?
Yeah, the most recent changes hasn't added any kind of impetus to Luton. If anything, QPR have just wrestled back a semblance of control here as we approach the latter stages, so there's not that feeling of unease around the stadium amongst the home supporters.
There is no tension at all, is there?
No.
Well, they can seal the deal with another goal here. And Parle is over the free kick along with Chair. And once again Luton have pulled everybody back bar Carlton Morris. So Colback and Edwards are back to try and deal with him. It's played short towards Saito inside the penalty area, forced wide, and I think the referee just gave himself a moment there and has penalised Saito for handball.
Yeah, took an age to give it, but absolutely looked like handball from here. I think in unison all the Luton players appealed, and rightfully it's been awarded by Andy Davis. He's still getting ready, Jake Clark-Salter. I wonder if they are just going to go 3v2, 3 centre-halves up against the physical threat of Morris and Adebayo.
There'll be a triple change from Luton very soon. Cauley Woodrow will be coming on along with Jordan Clark. That's at least 2 of the changes, and they really are just going for broke here as they have to. And here are the changes, and it's Dashi Hashioka, the other player, who will be coming on. So there'll be Japanese internationals on both sides. Fane has been replaced by Woodrow. Tom Holmes, the central defender, will come off, and Hashioka will replace him. And there's a bit of confusion here about the numbers board, and Rob Edwards, I think, is telling 1 or 2 of his players to actually stay on and then go off. And it's Ruel Walters who's replaced by Jordan Clark. Well, Tom Holmes was told to go off, stay on, and now he's coming off again. And after doing the footballing equivalent to the hokey cokey, he eventually is replaced by Hashioka. I'm not quite sure what the Luton formation is now. I'm not quite sure they're sure either.
I think sometimes it goes out the window to a degree and you just get all the goal threat on the pitch at one time. Cauley Woodrow was certainly that early part of his career, not so much since he's come back to Luton, but he looks like he's going to be in central midfield now. Jordan Clark's always good for a goal, so those 2 out there now, bit of experience as well, just hopeful that they can get Rob Edwards, that they can get a little spell.
But his Chair at the other end looking to cause problems, but it's hooked away towards this near side. Hashioka's first involvement down the Luton right, forward towards Brown, but Parle does well to win it back, and great footwork again on the halfway line from Morgan as it's played wide towards this near side. And Chair just looking to hold on to the ball momentarily. He's got support from Morgan on the outside, but at the moment it's all about just looking to maintain possession for Queen's Park Rangers, and they have a throw-in on this near side with just over 3 minutes to play. And here is the change that we trailed earlier, and it's Jake Clark-Salter who will be coming on for Kieran Morgan. And many of the Rangers fans in the main stand around us give a standing ovation to the 18-year-old who once again is put in a performance beyond his years.
Yeah, he's a classy player, really catches the eye, looks so simple, the game, and normally he gets his decision making spot on. There's been a few passes maybe in the second half that have gone slightly astray, but in the main, real classy operator in QPR's midfield.
Forest still leading Wolves 2-0 at Molineux over on Talksport. And Luton Town heading for yet another away defeat, and it will be 5 defeats in 6 overall. But they've got a throw-in on this near side with just over 2 minutes to play, and the reaction of the Luton fans at the end of this game should be very interesting.
Yeah, back 3 now, QPR, so at the moment it's Edwards on Morris and Fox on Adebayo. They can afford to be really aggressive, the two that are picking up their centre forwards, and Clark Salter's spare at the moment. So yeah, it's a defensive change, but it's a change that you see across the board really when you're defending a lead. And Marty Cifuentes showing Luton and Rob Edwards the utmost respect as they try and get these 3 points.
Lloyd releasing Sato. He comes forward now, wide towards Chair on the left. Lloyd waits inside the area. Chair goes alone, curls it just wide. What a goal that would have been from Elias Chair.
Well, you can't believe that it hasn't nestled in the far corner, because he's done this umpteen times throughout his QPR career, and he makes the space so easily. You've got to be aware that he's going to try and bring it in on his right foot as soon as he receives it left-hand side of the box. And he makes the angle perfectly to just bend it away from Kaminsky, misses by a yard. Another great chance.
Chair looks to clip it forward on this near side, but it's lost out. Hashioka's ball forward. Adebayo goes down, that doesn't get the free kick, and it's a throw-in for Queen's Park Rangers. And we are into the 90th minute here on Talksport 2. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Luton Town 1. And this has been a typical Sky Bet Championship game. Just when it seems that one team is in the ascendancy, they get a real slap in the face, and that's what's happened here for Luton Town, but there's still time for them. Chong looking to go beyond Dunn on the outside, deep into the penalty area. Chong continues, but an excellent challenge in the end from Field at the expense of a corner kick.
Yeah, Dunn gets absolutely rinsed by Chong on the far side, just speeds away from him. Brilliant play from Chong, who's shown some good moments tonight, but Field just appears from nowhere. Takes a little bit of a risk steaming into the challenge himself, but gets a lot of the ball there in that challenge.
Gavin Ward, the fourth official, will tell us shortly how much added time there will be. 7. A minimum of 7 added minutes. The corner for Luton, high into the penalty area, flicked on by Clark, and at the far post, Adebayo can't get the touch, and it bobbles into the arms of Nardi.
Yeah, perfect delivery, perfect little flick, and it looked perfect initially for Adebayo just to steer it home on the far post, but Ronnie Edwards is right there, and he does enough. He's physical with the centre forward. He grabs hold of him, and he makes sure he can't evade his clutches really, and he doesn't get a clean strike on the ball, understandably given how well Ronnie Edwards did there.
Lloyd does well to head the ball on, looking for Chair on this near side for Queen's Park Rangers, but Luton are able to clear. They're also into added time at Molineux, where Wolves still trail Forest by 2-0. And you can have your say on both of these games on the Sports Bar on Talksport from 10 o'clock. Played forward now by Brown, over the top for Luton, but Field will cut it out, and it's played forward looking for Lloyd, but Kaminsky will gather on the edge of the Luton penalty area. Now Walsh charging forward for the Hatters. 2-1 down in the 92nd minute, heading for yet another away defeat. Here is Woodrow now down the left. The low cross in though was swept away by Edwards. But there's still time here for Luton. And a good run on the outside by Chong. A high cross in looking for Adebayo, and in the end it's glanced behind, and it will be a corner kick for Luton Town.
Brilliant ball from Chong, so difficult running at that speed. Gets away once more from Dunn, his marker, and digs out a brilliant delivery. You think Adebayo's favourite, and it does divert off a QPR player behind.
I thought for a moment there Kaminsky was going to head forward into the penalty area, but he's waved away by Amari Bell. Corner kick for Luton, and a thumping header from McGuinness is off target this time. Rose highest above everybody else, but this time he couldn't plant the header into the back of the net.
would have had the clearest warning in the first half when he scored for his team, and there again completely unopposed, gets up so well. And if he was frustrated with the glancing header about 15 minutes ago, this one completely unmarked, and he's up. He should be able to head that down, I think. I mean, he's soaring into the night sky, isn't he, really? So maybe doing him a slight disservice. Kind of makes it with the leap, but really presentable chance for the centre-half to notch himself a brace.
Well, Rob Edwards just standing there, arms folded, on the edge of the Luton technical area. He's seen his team work their way back into this game, and it's a fluke goal which may beat them. Lloyd goes down, requesting the free kick on the far side for Queen's Park Rangers, but Luton had the throw-in, but they've quickly given the ball away. Lloyd involved again, and here is Chair now. Colback takes over, heading towards the edge of the penalty area, and Colback has almost given the ball away, but it's recovered by Chair. Now Field, wide to the far side, and Saito unable to slide in and keep the ball in play, but it will be a throw-in for Luton deep inside their own territory with 3.5 minutes to play. I know it's a results business, Sam, but have Luton done enough for Rob Edwards here tonight in terms of the performance?
Second half, absolutely, yeah. I think they'll get a decent reception if this is the way that it's going to finish for Luton Town tonight. There's certainly been a reaction.
Here is Saito now coming forward deep into the penalty area. He then goes down, wants to win a corner kick, and a goal kick's been given as Forest go 3-0 up at Wolves deep into added time at the end of that game. What a comprehensive victory for Nuno on his return to Molineux. Well, they're not going away, Nottingham Forest, far from it. But Luton Town, if they're not careful, could be slipping away from the championship here. Time is against them, a little over 2 minutes of added time to play, trailing here by 2-1. And at the moment, there is nothing to suggest Luton Town are to snatch an equaliser here, but Edwards almost losing out to Morris, and Edwards in the end does just enough with the help of Clark Salter. Then it's flicked on by Lloyd, Chair in pursuit, but McGuinness will guide it all the way back towards Kaminski. He now pings it long downfield. Morris winning the ball in the air, but Field again has picked up so many of the loose balls for Queen's Park Rangers, and now he's won another throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, he's been terrific again tonight, especially in this period where QPR have needed players to really lead and win second balls and be aggressive, as Luton have stepped up their intensity, and he's certainly done that. Field become a massive player for QPR.
Taiwo Awonyi got the third goal for Forest. It's finished there. Wolves 0, Nottingham Forest 3 at Molineux. Over on Talksport, here we have a little over a minute of added time to play, and Luton Town have conceded a throw-in deep inside their own territory here, trailing Queen's Park Rangers by 2-1. It's been a tight game. Luton have had their moments. They may have been beaten by a piece of outrageous good fortune for Queen's Park Rangers, but ultimately it is all about results in the Championship, and Luton are about to lose yet again. Queen's Park Rangers heading towards the corner flag on the far side, but they've conceded possession. It will be a goal kick. 25 seconds of the 7 minutes to play. Kaminski plays it long downfield, headed away by Edwards. Clark wide to this near side for Luton. Hashioka infield again towards Walsh. They need to get the ball towards the area. Walsh though can't deliver the ball in. He's been challenged by Lloyd. Back again towards Hashioka. The referee looks at his watch, blows the full-time whistle, and Rob Edwards and Luton Town have been beaten away from home yet again. It's an imperfect 10 in a row for the Hatters, and the team relegated from the Premier League last season, are slipping towards back-to-back relegations. The gap between themselves and the bottom three is now only 2 points. And while Queen's Park Rangers celebrate their progression up the table, Luton Town are sliding right into trouble. They can't buy a point away from home, and Rob Edwards and his team find themselves under increasing pressure. Full time, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Luton Town 1.
Well, to hear boos ring out from the travelling Luton Town support is sad. The Mad Hatters are becoming angry haters, and you can understand their pain. That dream of promotion to the Premier League could well be turning into a nightmare relegation to League One. They're asking the board, what on earth are you waiting for? They feel now is the time for change, and you start to wonder if Rob Edwards can truly survive this. In the end, his side didn't put in a bad performance. They managed to turn things round after the equaliser on the stroke of half-time, and a big piece of luck is what gave Queen's Park Rangers victory in the end. They move up to 13th, 9 points clear of the Championship relegation zone, with loftier ambitions now, and the Hatters' 4th defeat in a row means they stay in 20th, 2 points above the drop. Sam Parkin, it was a tight second half, you have to admit that. There were chances, good chances for Luton Town to equalise. There were several very good chances, albeit off the back of some pretty shoddy defending for Queen's Park Rangers to extend their lead as well. And in the end, it comes down to very, very, very fine margins, with that slice of luck for Morgan Fox to get the winner.
Oh yeah, incredibly fortunate winner, but I don't think anyone that's inside this stadium can suggest that it's not the right result. I mean, QPR had 3 golden opportunities in that second half. That said, Luton much improved, and the reaction, you know, isn't a great one, but it's quite mixed, and now they're getting quite a lot of applause from the visiting fans. And if they can't see that that second half performance was full of endeavour and fight, then they've been watching a different game from me. But the question will be to those players and to Rob Edwards, why didn't they show that in the first minute of the game? Why did it take 45 minutes for them to get going? There was a reaction, and it was a positive one, and now if Rob Edwards is still the manager for the next game, they have to use that. The Nottingham Forest game, forget that. You can worry about the FA Cup another time, another place. They need to focus in on the Preston game and show the fight of the second half and show that impetus that they certainly was evident to me in that second 45 minutes the next time up in the Championship.
The issue is, for me though, in the first half they lacked both fight and quality. In the second half they had fight and they still really lacked quality. Queen's Park Rangers, I think, played the far better football in the game, and those Luton Town fans will be looking at this example here tonight and thinking, hold on a minute, we were rubbing shoulders with the best teams in the country last season, albeit we were relegated. We should show some quality at this level. Where is that?
Yeah, I see both sides of it, Hugh. I'm a bit of a realist, and maybe that comes from where because I was at the club during a horrendous time, and I know that it's different now, I know that, but this is 1 year in the Premier League. This is a really, really difficult division, and I know they've invested in Mark McGuinness, for example, and paid a big sum of money, but I don't think this squad is littered with top quality Championship players, you know, or players that could step into the Premier League again.
They finished in the top 6 2 seasons in a row with a very similar group of players
in the playoffs. So they were
but in the top 6.
Yeah.
So they had to show some quality with a lot of these players. I know it's a change team, 50% or so, but a number of these Luton Town players have been at the club through that period. Yeah. They've shown us the quality previously required to finish at the top end of this table, albeit the fight has been there throughout the days in non-league all the way through. Yeah. But they have shown quality.
So I'll go back to what I was saying at the start of the show. One of the ingredients, the biggest ingredient, is the focus of the players and the attitude of the players, in my opinion. There's lots of other ingredients. I spoke about the change in the style. We saw a little bit of that tonight as well from Rob, trying something new. The biggest thing for me is that some of the players haven't performed to the capability of theirs, and that is a mental thing, and that is because some of them, I think, have lost focus having been in the Premier League. That for me is the biggest ingredient. And whether this squad of players, this 11, have got enough in them to turn this season around fully, I doubt. Should they get enough points to stay in the division, and am I confident they'll do so? Absolutely.
Nigel, what do you think?
Well, I think they are not helped by the fact that they went down with Burnley and Sheffield United, and Burnley and Sheffield United have got a good opportunity to head back into the Premier League this season. Luton Town at the moment could be heading down to League One. And I take on board what Sam is saying, but I just wonder if you go down, certain clubs just can't shake off that losing mentality, and the scar tissue from a relegation sometimes does take time to heal. And at the moment, Luton Town are still hurting. And when they played at home, and we've all been to Kenilworth Road, and it's a very different place, but you can't lose 10 successive games away from home and hope to make any sort of progress.
You're right about, and it's the point that we spoke of during the game, but I think that accentuates your point a little bit. Sheffield United and Burnley have been top flight clubs, for a lot of seasons. Luton Town haven't been that, so I think it's the whole picture, isn't it? It's the new ground, it's the reinvestment of money, it's the academy, it's everything I think goes into this. But if you're talking about the away form right now, normally something gives. Given it hasn't at this point, going into the game tonight, I felt that Rob Edwards would probably still get the opportunity to lead in this season. But Nigel's right. I mean, Wayne Rooney's lost his job because they can't get any points away from home. That's not different because, it's Rob Edwards who has all that goodwill towards him.
They got long-term plans, and the question that the Luton owners, I'm sure, have been asking, and maybe asking now, is Rob Edwards the man we want in the long term? I think he's a decent guy. I think he's a good coach, and he's had 2 previous seasons in the EFL, and he's got promoted at Forest Green. He's got promoted at Luton. He has set himself very high standards at this level. And to be where Luton are at the moment, of course, he'll be hurting. He'll want to be part of a long-term project. And now they've got to think, are we going to be brave? Are we going to show patience? Or do we make that change?
Very finally, the home crowd here went home very happy indeed. Another victory for them at Loftus Road. Where can this team go this season now under Martí Cifuentes? 9 points clear of the relegation zone, and as I said, with loftier ambitions, no puns intended.
It's difficult not to get carried away. What you're watching now, 5 successive home victories. I think really good value again tonight. Immediately, I think we could all see the confidence levels that they're playing with. I think the squad's probably a little short, maybe, to be that one that makes that dart, but stranger things have happened. Honestly, Hugh, stranger things have happened, and coming into the season, I would have probably absolutely been keeping an eye on Sheffield Wednesday and QPR. I mean, that's not out of the realms of whatever the possibilities now. So they've got real momentum. They look like a team with cohesion like they did the back end of last season. Goals, maybe. Centre forward is, do they need to supplement Frey and Salah, who's obviously not hit the ground running since he come to the club as well? That would be a question mark for me. And maybe just the depth. You look at that substitute bench, maybe some other teams are going to be better equipped to make that dart for the playoffs.
Sam Parkin, Nigel Adderley, thank you very much for your company this evening. You can have your say on everything you've seen and heard.